Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Comic Book Geezers. I'm your host, Pete, and my co-host extraordinaire over here.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic. How are you? Welcome back to another edition of Comic Book Geezers. This is a uncharted territory for me. This is our questions and answers, our first questions and answers.
The inaugural episode.
Yes, the
first.
debut, because I guess this was your idea.
Well, it was actually one of our readers' ideas.
That's
one
correct.
of our viewers' ideas. I do a questions and answers show.
That's right. I forgot. It was Jet Powers.
Jet Powers, right?
You're
so
the man, Jet Powers.
A little history here. So Jet Powers obviously is a viewer on my other show on YouTube, which is Sea of Tranquility. It's a music show.
If you like music, and who doesn't?
Yeah. So Jet has started watching us here on the Comic Book Geezers show, and he's like, hey, can you guys do a questions and answers show like Pete does over on the other channel? And we were like, why not? Give it a shot.
I had reservations. I was like,
he was worried. He's like,
yeah, I'm not going to be able to handle these questions. I'm going to look like the idiot on Jeopardy who doesn't know the right answer. I say a lot of wrong things on this show as it is, and then I have to come back next week and correct myself. So I thought we were opening a can of worms. I was worried, but we gave Jet the honors to ask the first question. So we're going to kick it off with Jet's first question, and go ahead, Pete.
All right, so Jet's question is, question number one. What's your thoughts on the Johnny Storm, Crystal, Quicksilver love triangle? Jet says, I thought it was great reading and the first time I had seen such a real topic covered in Marvel Comics. So,
like a real-life event.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
love affair.
Something that happens all the time, right? So
you see it on soap operas, you see it in the movies, you see it in real life.
Yep. So, of course, Johnny Storm, a member of the Fantastic Four, right? Human Torch.
Hothead.
And he's a teenager. How old is he in these comics?
He's got to be a teen.
17, 18?
I guess. I don't really know. They don't really get specific about ages, but he's pretty pissed off about it.
Yeah, so
I can't blame him.
So he's in a relationship with Crystal, who is one of the younger members of the Inhumans, and she winds up spending a lot of time with the Fantastic Four because there's a period of time where Sue Richards is off doing other things or having a baby.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the hell she was doing. So Crystal was kind of like a honorary member of the Fantastic Four, and she's dating Johnny Storm. Well, that goes on through some of these issues, and I pulled out some issues here. So we're talking about early Fantastic Fours. So this is 81. I believe there's some earlier than that. So she's there fighting alongside them. She's obviously
this guy looks like Magneto.
Is that Magneto? I don't remember who that was.
I don't know.
It might be the guy. No, I think it's the guy from the Fightful Four. The wizard, I think that was. And there she is again, right? So this is 85.
This other one was 81.
And here's 89. So here they're fighting the Mole Man. She's here now. Sue is back. Awesome. Mole Man is the best, right? Classic Kirby stuff. So they're dating each other for a while, on and off. They break up. They get back together. And again, it's young love, right?
Yeah.
And so eventually they break up. They split up. And Johnny's like, okay, I need to move on to other things because Johnny was kind of like a womanizer back in the day. And another storyline picks up where Quicksilver gets hurt. Somehow, I don't remember the full storyline, but she winds up taking care of him, nursing him back to health, and then she falls in love with him. So then when Quicksilver is back to his regular senses, he's healthy. The two of them are a thing. And then Johnny Storm finds out.
He's like, what the hell?
He's not happy, even though they're not together anymore.
Ugh.
So it all kind of culminates in issue 150, which is the big wedding issue. And of course, Johnny is trying to be happy for her. She's asking him to be happy for her, but deep down inside, I think
rotten as gut.
He's rotten, but then Ultron comes in, and it's just the big whole thing. But
I thought I didn't really know much about the story because it was before my time, before I started collecting the Fantastic Four. But I know there's a lot of jealousy and tension. But I also, to add to it, I thought what was even worse is when Sue Richards leaves Reed Richards for Namor, Prince Namor.
That was a big story. That was even bigger than this one.
Yeah.
That was even bigger.
But I got to stop you right there because this is questions and answers, not questions and explanations. So let's move on. Hope we answered your question, Jet.
Yes.
All right.
We both think but I thought it was a pretty cool storyline.
It was a good question.
And it was, like Bill said, it's kind of like this stuff happened in real life. So,
So they parallel, and they were good at doing that, parallel real life issues, which made their comics more relatable, to all the readers could relate to that.
Exactly. And that was new in comics at the time. So
yeah, it wasn't kiddie stuff.
That's right. That's right.
So I got Jeff Marlowe. Jeff Marlowe, are you out there? You got a question? Any specific comics that have any nostalgic value for you? So you want to go first on that one?
Yeah, okay. And I've kind of talked about these before. We've kind of cool to show them.
Questions and answers.
That's right. So
no explanations.
This one right here.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one of the initial group of comics that Mrs. Weber, I've talked about her before, An old woman
Love
that lived
that
next
cover.
door to my grandparents down the Lower East Side of New York City. She used to give, this was back in the very early 70s. She used to give me, every time I would go visit, she'd give me a comic or two
That
from
is-
her
that is one.
son's collection. That was one of them. I want to show you another one here. And
All
we
right.
just showed this one not long ago. All right.
Yes, the Kingpin.
Kingpin issue. This is the actual issue that she gave me.
Wow,
Okay, so
that's right.
Now this one, my original copy, I wound up like selling or trading at some point when I was a
Really?
stupid teenager. But I had to go rebuy it again. But still
I
remember
have that in a reprint version, Marvel Super Action, which is
Yep.
reprints of Captain America. Now I'm going to step up.
Go for it.
Nostalgic, number one, if I had to keep one comic, and I have talked about this before,
Oh yeah.
this was given to me by my late Uncle Johnny when I was 3 years old, and it didn't have a cover. He used to give me a lot of comics. Not a lot of superhero stuff, more like Superboy. Not a lot of...
Why is that not a superhero? Superboy's a superhero.
Well, I know that, but I'm trying to say he gave
Not
me...
a Marvel superhero.
I wasn't going to say Archie. He gave me other comics that weren't superhero related.
Did he give you any war comics?
I can't remember, man. It was all weird stuff, like Sad Sack.
Oh,
I remember that.
More the comics.
Yeah, he had more funny cartoon, maybe some Donald Duck stuff too, but there were a few superheroes. But ironically, this was the ultimate superhero comic that my Uncle Johnny gave me without a cover. And I was 3 years old, I couldn't read. Used to flip through it a million times. Then when I started collecting comics, I went to a Comic Con when I was 15, and I saw this cover, which popped off a light bulb in my head, which about the fight scene inside this comic. I remember two Iron Men specifically fighting each other. Sure enough, I opened up the book, and
That's the one.
And the one without a cover, I threw away when I was 12 years old when we moved. I used to live in Rudolph Abel's house. Anyone? Any Cold War history buffs? No? I didn't think so. Rudolph Abel was a Russian spy who was captured in 1957 in Peekskill, New York.
Wow.
And I lived in the same house as he did.
Yeah, I've known you like 35 years. You never told me that story.
Really?
Never told me that story.
I don't know. I didn't get drunk enough at the parties. You guys always say I talk too much, so that's probably why I stopped talking. Yeah, I lived in Rudolph Abel's house. The landlord knocked a hole in the wall and found vodka bottles stuffed with $100 bills. He found $3,600. Don't tell the IRS.
Wow. Cool story.
Landlord's dead. He spent the money. So long, IRS, FBI. But anyway, so this is my holy grail, nostalgic value. Continuing on that question, nostalgic value, I've talked about these three before. Hulk 213, Iron Man 100, and Thor 261 were the first three comics in my comic book collection when I started collecting again when I was 13.
Nice.
And so that's nostalgic for me. I was never a Spider-Man fan because I hated that cartoon. We've talked about that before. Roll your eyes. Go ahead. So I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, so nostalgic value. I'm going to go with Hulk and Fighting Spider-Man in issue 119. It carries over into 120. Then I was lucky to get 121 from you-know-who next door here.
Yeah.
Beer Money.
Which I had to buy again.
I got this
Yeah,
from
recently.
our buddy Paul, who we might see at a Comic-Con in a couple weeks. Paul, I got this last year from Paul. This is a pretty beat-up issue, but very affordable. Thank you, Paul. And this is more nostalgic value right there. Again, from this guy right over here. And one other nostalgic. I got a couple more I want to just show you real quick. This one, because I'm a big fan of the Hulk, this is signed by Joe Sinnott. I just got this signed last April.
Yep.
And I had him sign the inside page, and I'm not opening it. But so that's my nostalgic answer.
Cool, I got three more.
Okay.
So this one, nostalgic, because this is the first ever comic that I bought with my own money.
Oh.
And we've shown this before. And no, this is not the actual issue that I bought on the newsstand that day, which was probably like 1971 or 2 or something like that.
So
Well, it's
it's
a 20 center, so it's probably 72, right?
72 or 73.
Yeah,
Most
so-
likely 73 because he did start in 72.
This is a
Either way.
holiday issue. I bought this,
Holiday issue.
down
Oh,
at
yeah, I
yours.
have that one.
Yep. My original issue that I bought was just beat to shit, and I just had to buy it again.
All right.
And then, this is just special because it's
Ah!
special. Silver Surfer.
Oh, my
#1.
God.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't that be special, right? And this, another one that I bought with my own money very early on. This is in 1973.
This is
and one of
awesome.
the best Conan covers ever.
Except for that barcode.
Yeah.
I don't like. We talked to you guys about that.
I know, right?
They don't
But,
listen.
drawn by Barry Windsor Smith, obviously, and just a great, great cover. And again, not the original issue.
Is that a
I bought.
reprint story on the inside? Reprints?
Yeah, it's reprints, but
Okay.
but it's just so cool.
It is a great cover.
It is a great cover, and again, the original issue I bought off the newsstand was just really beat up, really bad. So
Yeah.
I rebought it again.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
For that.
So what's the next question? I got Atomic Rooster.
Atomic Rooster. Yeah. Okay, I'll read them.
Go ahead.
Aside from Lee and Kirby, if you each had to pick 3 of your favorites in the comic industry, could be creators, artists, writers, etc., who would they be? Go for it.
I'm gonna pick Herb Trimpe. He's like one of my favorite. He's like my favorite Hulk artist. I also am a big fan of the Hulk, so I have to go with Bill Mantlo as a writer and Sal Buscema, which was later on in the late 70s, early 80s. And I was a big fan of Moon Knight, so Doug
Mensch.
Mensch, and Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yep.
Bill Sienkiewicz was the artist, so those are my 3 teams I like.
Cool.
But I don't know who wrote for Herb Trimpe. I didn't do enough homework to go back and look at those Hulks that he worked on. Who was the writer?
Well,
So
wasn't Stan writing them for a little while? Like early on?
in the 60s, but I don't think he was in the.
70s,
I don't think he
right.
was in the early 70s. I don't know.
So I went.
Go ahead.
I didn't do teens like Bill did, and I stuck more with artists.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
I didn't know. You know, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
question and answer, so
Yeah,
I,
you know.
I'll give you an answer.
Hey.
Good.
Jim
Carrey?
Gene, spit it out. Gene Colan. I'm a big Gene Colan fan.
Tomb of Dracula.
Tomb of Dracula, Submariner, Daredevil.
Did he do any Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange? Yes,
There
he
you go.
did. Yeah. Mike Plug.
Yeah.
Not a really big body of work, but man.
That dude has talent.
Man
Thing
Ghost
number
Rider,
one.
Man Thing, Werewolf by Night. Frankenstein,
Dracula, their
geez.
first couple Draculas, right?
Just great stuff.
Yeah.
As far as like a guy who was like a writer and an artist and great at both, and I'm not talking about Kirby because Atomic Rooster already mentioned him. But how about Jim Starlin?
Oh yeah.
I mean, Jesus, that guy. I've been reading up a lot of the later Infinity stuff that happened throughout the 80s and 90s, and when he was like doing more of the writing than
He has
art.
really good artwork.
He's
He's really good.
And I want to throw a shout out. I know it's more than 3, but I want to throw a shout out to Jim Steranko. I love Steranko again.
Steranko's great.
Not a big body of work with Marvel, and Johnny Buscema, who I think, for my money, was probably like the MVP of Marvel Comics
Is
for
that
over
Silver Surfer, is that a Kirby cover or is that Buscema?
That's Buscema,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
And he did the Hulk, he did Conan, he was doing Thor. I mean, he did like
Yeah.
everything, and he was very underrated, I think.
Who, John Buscema?
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Who are we going to go to next? What do you got?
I got
John Michael.
okay.
What is your favorite comic from each of your collections? In other words, if you could only keep one comic book, which would it be? This was a really hard question.
Well, I just answered it basically.
Well, but if you pick one, pick one.
I have.
If you could only take one with you, it's the one that your uncle gave you, right?
It's the one my uncle gave
Yeah,
me. We'll
okay.
show it again.
Yep.
My answer is Iron Man 18.
There you go.
That's my answer.
So I found this to be very hard, and there are
It is a hard question.
It is really hard, and there's a couple that I
How
just
come we
showed.
couldn't say one box
I know, right? Or 100.
or something? I don't know. We would have been here forever.
I went with this one because this has long been one of my favorite comics.
Oh
of all
yeah,
time.
here we go. I know
And
this story.
Yeah, and it's like, for me, this is one of the best battles between 2 heroes ever. And it came on the heels of the death of Gwen and the Green Goblin.
Yes.
And Spidey was just pissed off and hurt, and then just Luke Cage just happened to be there, and because of course J. Jonah Jameson
Put him up to it.
Put him up to it, and these guys just fight throughout the whole issue. And I think it's got great art. The battle is great. Of course, they make up in the end, but
Is
it's
that
like,
John Romita?
yeah.
Okay.
And it's just, I've always loved this. And I'm a big Cage fan, and I love Spider-Man. I always really dug this one.
That's
lot.
a
So
good
That's
question.
the one that I picked. So
All right, and then we got Robert.
Robert Presty?
Is this is one of your buddies from Sea of
I think
Tranquility?
this is one of our
He drifted over to the comic book geezer side,
I
and,
believe so.
and then he starts asking questions
Yes. All right, so we're going to read...
without watching.
Without,
I'm going to talk to you, Rob. You
All right.
listening?
all right, so let me read his question.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you can unleash. All right, so,
Unleash.
so hey, Pete. He's crazy. He's not talking to you here. Love your Sea of Tranquility channel. Was thrilled to hear you have this channel as well. You and Wild Bill seem to have a great time together. Keep these shows coming. We will. On to the questions here. While we share the same taste and knowledge of music, I was wondering if you both enjoyed the horror comic anthologies that came out in the 70s, like The Unexpected, House of Mystery by DC, and titles like Tomb of Dracula, Werewolf by Night by Marvel. I was also a fan of the Curtis horror, like Monsters Unleashed and Vampire Tales, and my ultimate monthly, he's getting worked up over here, and my ultimate monthly treasure, Savage Sword or Conan. Did you both have a favorite among this genre? Maybe one I haven't come across. Keep rocking. Awesome job. Best of luck to you both. Thank you. Robert Presty. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you don't want to talk to your friend first?
All right, I'll talk to my friend first. Rob, like I tell you guys on the Sea Tranquility Show all the time, go check out our playlist. We've covered so much of this stuff. Great episodes, too, I might add.
All right, you done?
I'm done.
Yeah. Rob, welcome to Comic Book Geezers, but you got a lot of homework, dude. You come on board. We got like 85, 90 some odd videos, and you didn't watch any of them. And we have about 15 horror comic videos out there. Tomb of Dracula, we have 2 of those. We have a couple Conans. We got Werewolf by Night, Frankenstein. There's at least Man Thing. We got like 5 or 6 just monster comics. We did one on Ghost Rider.
Son of Satan.
Should I keep going, Rob? Yeah, I'm going easy on you, actually. So when I read this question, I was like, this guy didn't see anything. But it's like, now I'm telling you, are you going to ask me again next week? And I hope not, because I'm not going to answer you. I'm going to say, do your homework, Rob, and watch those videos. The answer is yes.
Yeah, and we're just kidding, obviously. But
I'm not stepping on you too hard. I'm going easy, But yeah, I thought that was funny that he wrote that question. I was like, it's like turn on the lights, And
actually, our like horror-related shows are actually the most watched out of any.
Yeah, no, would they get like what was it? Tomb of Dracula.
Tomb of Dracula's got like thousands of views,
but Spider-Man only has like 100, and that just baffles me, man. Yeah. I just like, maybe it's because I like Spider-Man so much, but the horror comics.
I think it just means people like horror stuff. That's just the way it is,
I guess, right? But we do like stuff besides the superheroes.
You got some stuff to show off there, I guess?
What, for the horror stuff?
Yeah.
Should I show them after I made them go through all this?
Yeah.
Isn't there somebody else at the bottom that asked about that stuff?
Yeah, we got some more. So some of the stuff that we like, again, and you can find the shows here, Werewolf by Night, Man Thing, Tomb of Dracula, Frankenstein, Ghost Rider, Son of Satan, Where Monsters Dwell. Didn't we just, was there?
Yeah, we just did.
That was Where Monsters Dwell or Monsters on the Prowl? I forget which one.
We did Where Monsters Dwell.
Where Monsters Dwell. We just did Monsters on the Prowl.
You did your earlier stuff, Monsters on the Prowl.
Right. Morbius. We've done some Morbius stuff. Chamber of Darkness. Vampire Tales.
Should we jump to Scott? Because he's kind of on the same page with Rob.
Yeah.
With the same kind of question almost. His is, what are some of your non-superhero comics?
Yeah, so Scott's asking, what are some of our favorite non-superhero comics and characters? So, obviously all this kind of stuff, right? But I also like some other stuff too, other than horror, that are not really superheroes.
Now, to answer both of these guys, here's an example of non-superhero comics,
and that's kind of like a literary, story there.
Yep. Who else? I stick on the same topic. Here's another idea: some monster non-superhero stuff. Weird Wonder Tales. That looks like Jack Kirby artwork on the cover.
Yeah, it could be.
We
showed this one recently.
Where Monsters Dwell. Okay.
All right. So specifically for you, my friend, you need to go watch. I forget which show that was on, but Bill does a great.
This one.
Yeah. So Bill actually tells one of the
comic
stories.
Acquisitions. This is just like 2 months ago.
Yeah. Bill actually tells a whole story of one of the stories.
What's inside here?
Yeah, it's a werewolf story.
So Rob, I might start asking you questions.
I've done that before.
Oh, you have?
Oh, yeah.
Here's another example.
That's a great cover.
And so is the back.
Evel Knievel.
Yes. This is great. Another idea of horror comics.
Vault of Evil.
Yes.
That's a classic.
This is another one. Okay, now, Scott also asked about, who was the one that, should we move over to Mr.
It was actually Robert that asked, right? Oh, no, Scott, yeah. So let's stay on Scott because I have a couple things I want to throw out for Scott. So he's talking about our favorite non-superhero comics.
Yeah.
We talked about all these horror things. I also really like Preacher, which is a DC Vertigo thing. And Preacher's awesome. That's not superhero at all. Sandman is very, very good. Another DC thing. And we're both really into Conan. Some of the swashbucklers and barbarians.
Random barbarian stuff. I like all that
barbarian stuff. I like a lot of like non-superhero stuff.
Yeah, we have a lot of random barbarian. We have some barbarian. We have one video called Random Barbarians.
He's a big Kazar fan,
Kazar. Who else? Cull.
Yep. Skull or Scroll.
It was Skrull the Conqueror.
Yeah.
I only have one of those, but that has pretty good artwork. So
And
yeah,
some good sci-fi stuff too.
Hopefully we answered your question. I wanted to move to this guy,
So which one is this?
Mr. Time Lord 1.
Mr. Time Lord.
Or do you want to go, because he's kind of in the same boat with Favorite Independents.
Yep. All right. So yeah, we can do.
Do you want to do that?
Yep. All
All right. So Mr. Time Lord 1 asked, who are some of our favorite independent comics? So I've said this before, that my favorite independent comic is Warlock 5. I have to give you this set to read someday.
Yeah, I would like to read it.
There's 13. It's black and white on the inside, but this came out like in 87, 88. Let me just show you a few of these. We've shown these off before, and I'm going to let Rob find those. Rob Preston, it's up to you to go find these episodes. All right?
There's your assignment, Rob.
This is new. This is issue number 5, and I needed this. And I just picked this up from our buddies in Texas.
Holy Terminator.
Yeah. This is a great cover. And it's issue 5. And then this is issue 6. But this is a mistake. This says issue 5. But it's really issue 6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then...
Leave it to the independents to make that mistake.
And this book didn't come out in a timely fashion either. It was a hit and miss. So that's why I don't have the first 13 issues. But I missed issue 5. And it took me forever to find it. This is issue 7. I love the artwork on this.
Yeah, it's really
Then
good.
they come back to the Terminator guy. Great cover. Warlock 5. This is printed by Aircel. That's the name of the company, Aircel Comics. I love this cover. This is just...
That is very cool.
So for an independent comic, I thought they were cool. I have a couple others to keep going. I talked about Ninja Elite. It's a female ninja. There's black and white artwork on the inside. Good storyline for an independent comic. This is called Adventure Comics, I believe, was the name of this company. And I don't know how long this went, but I only have like the first 8 issues. But this is the best looking cover. This is issue 5. More, I don't know if this would classify as independent, but I have...
Atlas. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know if Atlas, but it was... This is actually, in case you don't know, this was Stan Lee's brother, Larry Lieber, who got some Marvel artists to work with him. And a lot of them didn't get credit. Some did, but I guess because some were under contract with Marvel. So I have this one. I just recently picked this one up. Man Monster.
Gee, I wonder why.
Oh, you know that story. I don't know if I should go into it. Son of Dracula. I ordered this one online from somebody, and it took the guy like 2 months to get my letter with my money order. So I thought I got hosed, you know.
That's what you call snail mail for you people. You know?
Yeah. I could have walked to his house. To mail a letter from New York to Ohio should take 3 days.
Yeah.
I mailed it out. It came back to my house 3 days later, so I knew right from the get-go this wasn't going to go good.
But in the end, you got your stuff, right?
Finally, I just got it last Monday, a week ago. So thank you, Mr. You know who you are.
Yeah, that's right.
On the internet.
I'm glad you finally got them.
Yeah, me too. You know, because I didn't know what to think. I didn't... Out of the blue, 2 months later, the guy's like, I finally got your letter. I'm like, really?
Every week,
goodbye, man.
Can you believe I still haven't gotten that stuff yet? Or can you believe you still
It
haven't
wasn't a
gotten
big
my
order
money yet?
either. It was a $15 order.
Yeah.
You know, 10 for the books, 5 for the shipping with the money order and stamp. I was out $17. So, you know, and then if you have a problem, just so you know, kids, if you have a problem with a money order, you have to wait 2 months before you can make a claim or put a search or a trace on it, and they would charge you $6. So why do I want to spend $23 to get $9 back?
So the moral of the story is use PayPal.
Yes. I wanted to use a check, a personal check. Then I could have just wrote it off. I wouldn't have to worry, but thank God they came in. One more from there. Oh, independent. Tops. This is Vlad the Impaler. This was a 3-part story with special trading cards on the back.
Look at that. That's fun, right? Cool.
And you know this one. This looks familiar.
Yeah, I gave that to you.
I got this from Pete. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think this is what, a remake from the movie, like back from 2004.
Yeah, one of those later.
Another independent. I found this for $1 at a flea market. Jack the Ripper, man.
Wow.
There you go. I don't even know what company this is.
Who knows? Eternity Comics.
Eternity.
Never heard of it.
They're probably out of business.
Yeah, probably.
This is Dark Horse. Alien. Alien Earth Wars. They made 3 different series of Aliens Earth Wars. I have all 4 issues, but this is issue 1 and 2. So that answers my independent comic.
I think for me, I've never been a big independent guy, but I think out of all the years I've been reading comics, the only really 2 that I read like with any consistency was Cerebus the Aardvark and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I had a couple Turtles, but I wasn't really big into them. I just bought them to get them into my collection.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of them, yeah.
Who's next?
Who's next? Where do we leave off that?
Well, we did Mr. Time. We still have to do between Jamie Laszlo.
Yeah, and I got a couple here. Oh, let's do Surf real quick.
Oh,
what's the comic book geezer? What does the geezer's comic rooms look like?
I don't really have a comic room. I have a closet. So I have boxes
stacked with boxes.
It doesn't look pretty. It's all clusterfuck, you know. Yeah. But my box, I have since I started buying 3 years ago. I had 4 boxes for like 1,100, between 11 and 1,200 books. Now I'm at 2,525 comics.
I haven't counted.
So I'm like, and that's assuming my count is correct, since I counted like over a year ago. Every time I buy comics, I add it to the list. Oh. So I might be on, but to sit there and count them all, I'm not doing that. It'd take a while. But I have grown from 4 boxes, and I'm working on filling up on my 9th and 10th box.
And here's the thing. So the
boards take a lot of space.
This guy lives on his own. He's not married. He doesn't live with a woman.
I don't have kids.
He can do whatever he wants in this place. And you would think, being such a comic book fan, that you'd walk in here and there'd be figures and posters and like prints all over the place. Almost nothing.
No.
What have you been waiting for?
What am I waiting for?
I'm like, I have to like, you know.
I keep my comic book love in the closet, I guess you could say.
So in my house, I have my
He's got a wife that doesn't like that stuff. No. I have a girlfriend that's not into comics. She wants me to sell them so we can go on a cruise.
No.
I like that idea. But I ain't selling them to go on a cruise.
No, going on the cruise is fine. Selling the comics, not fine.
No.
I've got, like, in my office, I have, like, a lot of, like, signed prints and things that are framed and up on the walls. I've got some figures and things like that, and all my books are in long and short boxes.
Go ahead, talk.
Up top of, I've got, like, CD and movie bookshelves that I had put in, okay, like built-ins. And up top there, and it's like, 8 feet up, I've got all my long boxes and short boxes up there, and I have like, 10 or 12 of them. So there's actually, a lot of stuff in that office, but that's the only place in the house that I can have anything. So maybe not some cool rooms like some of you guys. As Bill's bringing stuff over and dropping. So he does have a couple things laying around here and there.
I showed this. So, I got this as a Christmas present from my girlfriend's son and daughter. They picked this out. This is in my bedroom. Also in my bedroom, I have
you're holding out on me.
Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man issue 187 is a trifold, and you can pull it out, and it's Spider-Man in the black suit chasing the Hobgoblin who's behind, throwing pumpkin bombs at him.
Cool.
This is a Christmas ornament, and I never took it out of the box.
No, you probably
got this from my mom. What? Probably should.
I said you should leave it in the box.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Seeing as you don't have a Christmas tree.
No. Well, even if I did.
No, but it's a cool box, too. So,
yeah. And it's glass. This is a glass ornament. Don't drop it. Okay.
More Where'd you get this? You never showed me that before. That's pretty cool.
These have been sitting right up on top over there. They're here every time.
I've seen the Batman, but not the Hulk.
Hulk. Another Christmas tree ornament. I used to have... I'll tell you in a second. This is the Batman. I used to also have a Spider-Man with that swinging pose and I used to hang it from the mirror of my Firebird. And I got rid of my car 2 years ago. I had a 99 Firebird, and I forgot to take the Spider-Man off my mirror. And yeah, man, yeah,
epic fail.
And it was like a Christmas gift for my mom, like from the '90s, and I can't find it anywhere in the stores, man.
Huh.
So, well, the malls, they suck anime because they...
Lost leader. You're going to have to order that online.
Yeah, I'm going to have to order Amazon.com probably has.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. From Rock Fanatic. Who do the two of you hold more affinity towards? Comic characters with supernatural or superhuman abilities or those without them?
How can you be a superhero without powers? That's only Batman and Moon Knight, I guess.
There's some others. I mean,
Hawkeye,
Green Arrow.
There's a few, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess I'm going to lean more towards the people with the superpowers.
Yeah,
is the answer for
And then there's some that have superpowers and supernatural powers, right? So, I like the ones with the powers, obviously. So, second part of Rock Fanatic's question: how do the two of you feel about the constant retconning that the various comic franchises have been subjected to? So, in other words, what he's saying is
he's asking about new comics that I don't read,
or they keep rebooting the universe. So all of a sudden, like the New 52 and the new Marvel universe, and they have like this big cataclysmic event, and all of a sudden everything is rebooted.
Yeah, to buy it.
It makes me dizzy, man. I'm just like, especially DC has just been doing it nonstop, and I like the newer DC stuff, as we'll get to.
They're really good writers, from what I understand. I heard the 52 and the Rebirth. I heard
a lot of good stuff, but I'm like, come on! Every 5 years, you're going to reboot the entire universe, and when you're throwing out everything that happened, like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I don't know. I just, I understand.
They're trying to get guys like me to come back. I don't know. I missed books from the 70s and the 80s. I'm not really into the new books. The only new book I bought was Detective 1000. Detective Comics.
Yep.
And how many, and I still have no idea how many variant covers. I've seen at least 15 already.
That's crazy, right?
There's
so many of
them. And they're all awesome covers, man,
Yeah. But to answer your question, I think they do it too often. I really do. And I understand, you can't, a lot of these characters have been around for 50 years, and you can't have them be 100 years old, so you kind of but it's just like, come on.
But they never have a timeline in the comics anyway. I mean, how long has Peter Parker been young?
22, right? Or whatever. Yeah. Because
so, I mean, there really is that.
Other than like Batman, when they did the whole thing with Batman in the mid-'80s, but it's just like, I don't know.
So, but hopefully we answered your question on that one.
All right, so this kind of moves right into DC Toon Time's question, and I'll answer this one because Bill basically already just said he doesn't read a lot of new stuff. He's asking, I'd like a synopsis of your take on modern comics. I am in the same age group as you both, and I feel like many of the narratives today are unclear, panels cluttered, and while I like some darkness in my comics, I think too much of the storytelling is simply made to shock. Also, what modern comics do you follow? For me, it's the alternative selections, Criminal, Black Hammer, etc. What about you guys? I'm not familiar with Criminal or Black Hammer. I honestly really don't like a lot of the new Marvel stuff. I just can't get into it. I do like a lot of the new DC stuff, but I don't really buy like single issues. I buy like the the trades, the graphic novels from time to time. I really
so that's how you get in the loop through the graphic novels.
Yeah, I'll wait and buy I'll spend like $20-$30 on a big thick graphic novel that has a whole year's worth of storylines. I really like the new Batman stuff. The only ones I really follow.
Did you read that Detective 1000 yet?
I did. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Kevin Smith wrote a story?
Yeah, no, that
was he the second story?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But the new Batman stories, like in the last 10-15 years, are very good. I like the new Justice League stuff. I read like Outsiders every so often. I like some of the new Flash stuff and Green Lantern, some of the new Aquaman. So and I've read some of the new Swamp Thing. Pretty cool. So. But to answer your question, he doesn't read much new stuff at all unless I make him borrow stuff and read it, which he's reading some recent Punisher stuff, which is pretty cool. But I just basically read
a stack of books.
I know, like, you need to read this, right? So
what? 4 phone books and 2 little ones.
Yeah, but he did pretty well. He's almost done with them all.
Well, yes.
So how about we're missing the question? Oh, the Alan Moore question. Okay.
Yeah, we got who's do we do
Jamie Laszlo?
Yeah, we just answered his question because he said, "Do I buy new comics?" And my answer is no.
But Jamie's question is interesting because he says, "I hate how they no longer put speech balloons on the covers, as that would be too cheesy for today's readers. But I, for one, like some cheesiness in my comics." Yeah, I mean, also it's the people who read comics have changed a lot.
So go back to his point. There's no balloon blurby words when they. So does nobody saying anything on the covers? It's just images.
It's just images, yeah,
and no balloons, no words.
And that's kind of It's there's a lack of.
What idea was that?
I don't know, but it's been like that for a long time. There's like a lack of innocence in a lot of the newer comics, and you're absolutely right, Jamie.
A lack of innocence.
Yeah, it's like back then. There was like a little bit of come on, back in the 60s and 70s, there was a lightheartedness about some comics, even though I think the storytelling was better.
So you're saying they're more darker, more abrupt.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like long-standing arcs. A lot of art. Yeah, in fact, I'm reading. So just so you guys know, I'm reading a couple of graphic novels of like Outsiders, which is the team that Batman created. That was then led by Arsenal, the Green Arrow protege, and Nightwing, who was Robin, and a bunch of other characters. And then these came out like in the mid 2000s, 2010 or something like that. And there's some like really adult content in these, and they're not Vertigo comics, right? These are not Marvel Max. These are just regular comics.
Mature audience warnings on the outside.
No, they don't. That's right. I'm like, whoa, this
something for parents to protest.
This is pushing the button. So again,
wow.
I don't think these comics are geared for children anymore. They're geared for adults who just are comic nerds.
Well, because children don't have $5 to buy on a new comic.
No, they're expensive too.
Right, $4.
And that's another thing why I don't buy a lot of new comics, because back in the old days, okay, for those of you who are younger, let's go back in history. When he and I were younger, okay, like in the 70s, I know I would get an allowance each week, like 50 cents or a buck or whatever, right? So it was minimal. And I'd go to the comic shop and I'd see all this new stuff. And every week we'd go and I'd see all this new stuff and I'd be like, okay, I have 50 cents I can get, and they were like, or let's say I had a buck.
Yeah,
and I'd be like, you get four comics, and then you'd look at all the other ones you couldn't get, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll get them next week. But then next week comes and they're gone. Yeah. Because you got the new week stuff, right? But you could buy a handful of things each week. Now, I mean, shit, $10 gets you, what, 2 if you're lucky?
Yeah, on the new stuff.
And there's so many more titles
on books that I don't have from the 70s.
Right,
that's what we do.
Right. And there's so many titles now. That's the whole thing. It's just so many titles. So
it's too much.
Who can keep up with all this stuff? So, but Jamie, that's a good question. And yeah, I agree. I like a little cheesiness too. There's something missing from the newer ones. I'm not saying there's not good comics and not good storylines, because there are. I think DC has done some really good stuff. But I think Marvel is really struggling nowadays.
Well, it's because Disney owns them.
Yeah, but it's been going on for a while.
Didn't they fire everybody?
Just making that up. Even like in the 80s. You remember in the early 90s?
Yeah, well, that's
when it's not very good, right?
Well, in the 80s, the quality of the artwork dropped off. It
suffered, yeah.
Especially, the first thing I noticed was they didn't pay any attention to the background art.
Right.
It was just blank panels and blank background.
No splash pages anymore.
No double centerfold splash pages anymore like Kirby used to do.
And you just said the magic word. Guys like him were leaving.
Yeah.
Either they were getting older or they were just not there anymore. Yeah. They brought a lot of these younger artists in who, quite frankly, weren't really that good. Yeah.
Then, so that's why I got out of it. And the prices were going up. By the time I stopped collecting, they were 75 cents. But then when I got out of college, and I was in college too, so I didn't have the time to be collecting. And then when I got back into it, they were up to $1 already. And it was like, damn, I was a kid. When I wasn't collecting, they were 15, 20 cents, Yeah, exactly. So, I didn't have an allowance. I got money like for my birthday or for Christmas or for holidays and stuff like that. It wasn't until I was a teenager and got back into it the second time is when I was like, I lived in the woods, by the way. So when we left the Russian spy's house and moved into the boondocks.
I never knew that.
Yeah. I thought I told you that.
No.
But anyway, I got a subscription to Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the Hulk for 3 years. And then my 4th year, I got Daredevil as well.
I never subscribed to anything. I should have. I went to the...
And I did it so that I wouldn't miss the issues is why I did that.
That's the way to do it. I should have done
that. And it was cool. And it was a little bit of... And if you did a subscription, they gave you a little bit of a price break than if you were going to the newsstands every week. So that's my answer.
Cool. All right. How about from Battle Rap Resume?
Yes.
This is a great question. What Alan Moore works do either of you guys enjoy?
So I was like, again, with the can of worms... freezing in the headlights, who's Alan Moore? So I remember this Alan guy in my Batmans, and I went looking through like the 400s, like the 420s, because there was this saga going on in Batman, and I pulled them out, and I was like, there's no Alan Moore in here. So who's Alan Moore? I was like, why is this guy asking me Alan Moore? I don't know who Alan Moore is.
Again, just remember, he stopped reading stuff like in the 80s, so when Alan Moore was coming to prominence, Bill had already kind of...
I was like, Alan Moore, I don't remember him from the 70s.
Yep.
So then I went looking, and I had to Google Alan Moore so I don't look like an idiot here.
And then he pulls out and goes, but this is a great issue. Oh,
here's my Alan Moore. I hope this answers your question.
Battle Rap?
Yeah. This is. I enjoy this one.
That's a classic.
And this book has never been opened.
Really?
Never been opened. Wow. He has the graphic novel.
Yeah.
And that's how I read it. And I just read this story like within the past year.
So this is a virgin.
Never been open.
Tape on the back.
Now I know. Well, I put this in the bag. I bought this right off the stands. I should have bought 20 of them.
It still has the wrap on the book. You're saying?
No, it's not wrapped in a plastic bag. No, I put this in a bag and a board. There's no.
You just never read it.
Never read it. Just never opened it because when you open these, this is like a graphic novel.
Oh, that's a thicker one.
Yeah, it's like one of them glossy covers, like magazine pages. Oh. So what happens is when you open these, you get a nice crease right down there on the side. Right in there. You'll get a crease. But that's part of the book. The
Nice.
Joker card, man.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I know if I ever submit this to CGC, they'll go, "Oh, it's a 9.8," and I'll be like, "No, it's not. It's a 10."
Never
But
been over.
nobody gets a 10 ever.
No.
But I'll sell it to you like it's a 10.
I will
I'll
tell
never
you,
sell it.
if you're ever interested in making a little bit of money on stuff in your collection, that would be a good one to do right there.
This one is what's
Yeah.
this? Well, this is up there, right? This is.
It's worth some money. I don't know how much it's going for, but
I'm going to say between 50 and 100.
yeah, probably. It's one of the more notable ones.
And we've talked about this before. They reprinted it in fluorescent pink. You want the green. That's what you want.
That's what you want.
Hopefully that answers your Alan Moore question.
So
Thank you.
I actually have read
I was stumped, man, on that one.
So I've read a lot of Alan Moore stuff, and
Okay.
that is on my list as well. Watchmen is probably one of my favorites.
Okay.
He wrote the Watchmen
Yeah.
also, and
And you
that's
had the movie, right?
yeah. And you need to read the graphic. You know what it is? The novel is so similar to the movie, but it's great. You
I
should-
didn't like the
you should-
movie.
Really?
I didn't like it.
Holy cow! Wow. Maybe you should read the book and maybe you'll appreciate it
I
more.
just
Anyway,
said that. This is your reaction.
oh, so,
It was okay. I mean,
I dig it a lot.
yeah.
He's very dark. Alan Moore's very dark.
Okay.
I love the Saga, the Swamp Thing stuff that he did. His Swamp Thing run for me is
That was the other thing.
Awesome.
I have some Swamp Things, but
not
he didn't write the ones that I have. I have the higher issues, like in the 60s and 70s.
In fact, I'd say arguably the best stuff he ever did was.
We're talking about the Swamp Thing that was written, I guess, Volume 2 in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
That's
Volume 1.
Great stuff. And we talked about Batman Killing Joke. He also did V for Vendetta. Which,
The movie. Well, he wrote the
He
story.
wrote the story. Yeah, he
Okay.
wrote. Yeah, they had a graphic novel of that too.
Oh, really?
So that's pretty
I
good.
have the movie. I like that.
Yeah.
V for Vendetta.
I would say the actual V for Vendetta book it's a little of a slow read, but it's still you can see the brilliance in it because it obviously translated over to the movie well.
Okay.
I had to mention that because I do like it, but for me, I think Watchmen,
That's a great movie.
Saga, the Swamp Thing stuff. Is really,
September,
really
September. A
Yes.
month to remember.
good. And our last question from the best viewer name today is Taco Reynolds. Where did they get these names from?
I don't know.
So Taco, your question is, what are both of your guys' favorites DC hero and villain, and also your favorite Marvel hero and villain? You want to go first?
I'm going to have to say the Flash and the Joker. And if I can't say the Flash, obviously Batman. And for Marvel, for me, it's the Hulk.
Why can't you say the Flash?
I said the Flash. I can't say Batman.
Oh,
I said I'm giving them two answers.
okay.
I'm going with Flash and Batman and the Joker. But for Marvel, I'm going with
So you're doing a tie. Okay.
Flash is number one, but I'm giving him two answers. I'm giving him more bang for his buck.
Okay. Hey, you're
He can reject these
it's our
answers.
show. We can do
He
whatever the
can
hell we
reject
want.
his answers. I don't care. But for me, my all-time favorite hero from Marvel is the Hulk. He's my favorite character, hands down. And Spider-Man.
And your favorite Marvel villain?
My favorite Marvel villain is the Green Goblin and Doctor Doom. I couldn't make up my mind between those two. But that's my answer. I tried to keep it short and sweet, but I had more than one answer, so I had to throw them out there.
These questions some of them are difficult. You really got to.
They are.
You know?
This is the last one we're doing, kids.
So my answer is for DC, I'm going to go with Batman is by far my favorite DC hero, and what I did was I kind of stuck with the villain that is kind of associated with the hero. My
I
favorite,
just did that.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I like to interrupt.
well, the Flash is the Joker's not a villain. Ooh,
Well,
yeah.
the Joker is a villain, but the
but
Flash.
not of the Flash.
No, but the Flash. That would be good if they put.
I
it in.
would. There's
never ever
There's
thought
a lot
that.
of villains that are
Ooh,
so
light bulb
associated.
popped off, man.
There's a lot of villains that are solely associated with one hero, and you're like, why did they ever fight that? I never understood that.
That would be
Doc
great.
Ock was another one. Why did Doc Ock never fight a lot of different Marvel
People,
heroes? You know, it's
It'd be
like,
great
always-
against the Fantastic Four, but like teamed up with Doctor
I
Doom.
never understood that. So mine. So and again, this is another example.
Just thinking about that now, Doctor Doom and Doctor Octopus together. That'd be awesome.
They
man.
were in Secret Wars, but you got to go read Secret Wars to see that.
I'm not doing that.
So for DC, my favorite hero is Batman. My favorite villain, I love the Scarecrow.
Oh yeah,
I totally love the Scarecrow. I think I love.
he's awesome.
I
don't have him in any of my Batmans.
No, he's
and I got a lot of Batmans. He's not in any of them.
My favorite Marvel hero, and it's funny because this has actually changed for me over the last
The Fly.
3-4 years. No,
No.
The Fly, yeah, The Fly. That's my favorite.
He's a guy with no superpowers.
yeah, exactly. If you would ask me this question probably like 20 years ago, I would have answered something different. But the last couple of years, there's been another hero that really has become my favorite, like in a big way, Thor. I'm
Yeah.
a huge Thor fan now.
I turned you on to Thor.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I always kind of liked him, but I never had a lot of Thor.
I never liked
comics.
him as a teenager because it was like reading Shakespeare, but when I started
But a
collecting
cool
a couple
character, though, right? And
Yeah.
I think I started reading a lot of the old issues.
she's like a knight in shining armor.
and then the movies, and I was like, man, Thor is great, right? And he's powerful and shit, So
he's got honor.
yeah,
He's a straight shooter.
he is.
He doesn't go for treachery.
He's got a good cast of characters around him, which I always like. The other Asgardians and what have you. So, and he's got some great villains. And my favorite
Yeah.
Marvel villain is also I love villains. I really do. I have a lot of villains in Marvel that I really like a lot. But the one guy, and he didn't just fight Thor. He also fought the Hulk a lot and various other
Who?
characters. The Absorbing Man. I love him.
okay.
He's awesome. He's another really
Who's that other troll guy?
Oh, Ulick?
Yeah.
Ulick is awesome.
He's another
right?
great monster.
Yeah, and I love Juggernaut. I love the Abomination. I like a lot of Spider-Man.
Abomination
films.
never fought Thor, did he?
Yes, he did.
Oh, really?
I have an issue where he fights Thor.
That I have to see.
He fought Silver Surfer once too. Yeah, so
The Abomination did?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
In this-
one of those issues that you don't have yet. Yes.
He says, yeah. I don't think I'm ever going to finish,
You'll
man.
get- no, because number one is the most expensive. You can get all.
Sure
the,
they are, and
one
so
is
is number four.
Yeah, but all the others are very affordable. You can
Yeah,
totally
they got
get
$30 a pop for each one.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
If people stop buying them out of my shopping cart,
Oops.
that's not you. I had 4 of them. Now I only have 2.
Well,
but
keep
anyway.
trying, man. Keep
Yeah, well, maybe somebody at one of these cons will have them at a reasonable price.
We'll see. We got the big one we're going to in a couple weeks.
Yes.
So that's. I think that's it. That's. I think our last question. Right.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think so.
So we had a lot of fun here on this first edition of Questions and Answers. So here's
Look at
the
the
drill.
time.
45 minutes.
We have to
Woo!
go. I have to go now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Wild Bill saying thanks for being here for
And
our
I'm
first questions and answers and the last one. And, hope you enjoy our answers. Hopefully, guys, get out there and watch some episodes
Yes.
before you ask me questions about things we've already done.
Yep. So here's how it goes for next time. So if you got any new questions, something different,
Something from the 70s?
yeah, try and stick to the 70s or the 60s and 70s and early 80s. That's
60s,
what we
70s,
specialize
80s,
in.
yeah.
And put your questions in the comments and feedback below. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll sit down and we'll do this all over again. And
It took us about a month to put this together,
Yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
or 3 weeks at least. But
good because it's good. It's kind of fun to talk.
it's a
about
good
this kind of
filler
stuff. Yeah.
because we still have videos in the bank. What are you putting out next that we still have?
We got Devil Dinosaur coming up.
Okay.
And then we got some really cool horror stuff once again.
Yes.
A very fun episode.
Yes.
That's happening. So that's coming up.
And
in
we
the-
have, he's got another, what'd you get, like at least 100 comics? All horror?
Yeah.
So we're going to probably split that into 3 episodes.
Yep.
And,
We might have a special guest too.
yes, and we have to do maybe a special episode about that guest
I
to
think
get
so.
you guys into the loop.
Yep. Of who he is, why he's here.
Do you want to stop or tell him? We're already,
I think let him wait and anticipate it.
okay.
Yeah.
You want to give him a hint?
You can give him a hint if you want.
Or you know the character.
I know who the character is.
I was wondering if you wanted to tell him instead of me
Alright.
blowing my own horn.
he is a character
That I created
that he created
from an impression.
from an impression of a
I had
character,
2 lines,
a
and
villain
yes,
below the depths.
was truly inspired by comic books. It was basically my version of an impression of a villain, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Yes. So, and we actually back in the early '90s, we attempted to make a movie around this.
I have a
character.
script sitting in my closet,
Yeah, we have some footage that exists still. We never finished
and
it.
the rest of it's in my head. It is my $1 million ticket. I just haven't produced it yet. So I have to get
Yeah.
going, and it's been sitting on it for 20 some odd years.
So chew on that and
Yes.
wait for a future episode, and we're going to have him as a guest star on our show. So
He will be here.
uh-oh.
I'm Wild Bill saying thanks for being here for Comic Book Geezers. As always, send us your comments. Tell your friends. Thanks for all the views and your support and for the subscriptions. We appreciate it.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys. I'm Pete. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.